back at it. It's cold in here. Just looked at a thermometer. It said it was about 22, 23 degrees. Had to use the old four-wheel drive to get in through the snow. It's been snowing like crazy all day. But anyway, I'm just going to hit some pitching wedges to try to get some blood flow back in the old Piggly Wigglies. No mitts. See what happens. All good? Yeah. Can't ask for much more than that out of a strike. That one felt real good. Real good. First one, if anything, might have been just like, or sorry, the second one, I mean, might have been just a little bit of like the pro thin, as I call it. When you take divots so far after the ball, it's almost like you catch the ball a little thin. It would have worked great though. I mean, it felt nice. It would have had a ton of spin. Probably just came out with a little bit lower trajectory. Let's keep going. Yes. Oh, baby, that felt nice. Felt real good. Yeah, felt a little steep. I didn't like that swing. I mean, the contact was halfway decent, but just didn't like the swing. It felt a little steep and quick, clunky. I mean, it was over the same spot. You're not going to see anything through the ball strike. Shallow things out a little bit. So there it is. There it is. Another one flush. A great drill if you tend to hit the ball a little heavy or just for general ball striking. I don't know where my masking tape is. I took a quick look. I'm either out or I just have it out in the truck and I don't feel like going to find it. But you can use a towel. You basically set a towel up like this behind the ball. And you don't want to go too close, because if it's too close, you will hit the towel even with a good swing, where your divot would start, you know, that fraction after the ball. But the towel likes to kind of sit up off the turf just a little bit. So I like to go about, I mean, if you have a compact club head, about that little over 2.5 inches maybe, just the length of the grooves at the most. You know, maybe a little shorter than that, but you know, just about that far, maybe just wider. You know, you want to be able to fit a golf ball in between here fairly comfortably. You don't want to be too far, of course, but right about there, maybe it's a hair closer. Right about there is perfect. Yeah, I can't quite fit, I mean, I don't have big fingers, but you know, I can't quite fit all 3 fingers jammed together. And you can get closer with the tape, with the masking tape, you can get a little closer to it. But like I said, the towel likes to sit up off the ground a little bit. And it just really teaches you to get down and make ball first contact. That is an absolutely great drill. Just, it doesn't want to sit flat is the problem. Sticking up off the ground. But that again will teach you. I felt, it wasn't. Thought that was maybe a shade toey. It might have been the most toey ball on there, kind of right down on the toe side. Wasn't bad at all. But anyway, that is a great drill, especially if you're hitting it fat, but just in general to strike the ball. I like these range balls because they obviously leave those nice imprints And I feel like even with not a range ball, you can generally see where the ball struck. It just might not be as obvious. But you can like color on a golf ball, like some shag balls, like maybe make a little Sharpie spot or even just a line with a Sharpie and put that where the club face is going to make contact, right in the center, and it'll give you a pretty good idea of where you're striking the ball. And then also if you set a ball up, you know, with a Sharpie line dead straight up and down in the middle where ideally you'd strike it, and you hit a few shots like that, it'll also can give you a good idea of whether or not your iron's lie angles are, you know, near right, because that line should be fairly straight up and down. But if that line's pretty crooked, you know, you're having to compensate somewhere in your swing because your clubs don't fit you. I think lie angle is one of the biggest differences between clubs. Like when I have to use someone else's clubs, don't have to, but like, you know, when I use someone else's clubs, the biggest difference I notice is generally they're just standard lie angles, which means they're 2 degrees flatter than mine because mine are a couple degrees upright. I notice that right away. It's flat. Every shot I hit, it doesn't slice, but instead of starting, you know, dead straight, it just wants to kind of push. And obviously the further the shot, the further that push goes to the right. Even with chip shots though, like my girlfriend's grandfather and dad are fairly avid golfers, and her grandpa has this like whole backyard chipping setup where you kind of chip into milk crates, yada yada. But I just use like one of these lob wedges. It's like an old Vokey lob wedge, which is great. It's like a club I use, except for their standard lie angles. And I swear, it's like, if this is the box, my ball, like it just maybe just like 3 inches to the right of the milk crate every time. I have to feel like I'm hitting 3 inches left of the milk crate to center it. And it's just, you can imagine how if I'm only chipping the ball 40 yards and I'm missing a milk crate by, you know, 4 or 5 inches or whatever, that when I'm at 100 yards, 150 yards, 200 yards, that amount I missed right is exponentially bigger. So the longer the shot, the more miss. So if your lie angles aren't set up well for your swing, you're going to have a lot of trouble. Yeah, that was fat. Should have had the towel there. You can see probably that highest ball mark, I'd assume. Didn't like that one. I was thinking about other stuff in my swing. I actually tried to play that further forward than what I'm comfortable with as well. I've always been a high ball hitter. So say, you know, this is about middle of my stance right here. That ball is about middle. I've always liked to play it about a golf ball further back, just instinctively, because I just want to hit the ball a little lower, a little lower. I'm always trying to trap everything and hit it a little lower, a little lower. And yes, so someone was talking about this. Someone gave them a tip that they were getting a little handsy in their swing and try to swing a little bit more with their body. It was funny, they were talking about getting mad. They were so mad, like sizzling bacon or whatever. I'm not doing them justice. But anyway, it's true. I think their dad gave them a good tip with less hands and more body. Because yes, your arms and your hands are responsible for, you know, about 70% of your swing speed. But you have to know when to use. What was that? Did I just hit this? I hit something. But anyway, you have to know when to use your hands. One of the biggest issues, I've talked about this a lot, is casting early, trying to pick the ball up in the air. And a really good feel that I use a lot is like I almost don't use my hands, or I feel like I'm hitting the ball with my sternum, where it just kind of feels like this is coming through, and just the natural forces of everything, you know, that club comes through on its own. And I am using my hands, but if you feel like you're just kind of using your chest to swing the club, I'm not saying do this and just hold on forever and never use your hands, but that delay in the hand action is going to do wonders, especially for, you know, wedges and short irons. Just a feel of, you know, that's how it feels.